What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Salty Runback, here to be your weekly intake of North American Developmental League of Legends. We are back with another episode. The finals and semifinals for the open qualifiers are coming on, and we got a special interview with Young over on DSG coming up a little bit later, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But before we get into that, I have a new guest on the show. Once again, Hawk's on vacation, and so I brought AlkBattery in for some reinforcements. Alk, you've been watching a lot of League of Legends recently on LPL. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. I'm tired as hell, man. Like the LPL schedule is really intense. Lennon was telling me like you won't know until you do it. And being on the West Coast, it's like call times at 1. It's crazy. And then I think there's only been one day where I've had LPL go straight into NACL, and it was just like we ended at like 6 in the morning. I have to immediately just like teleport TP spawn into bed. It's not fun. But it's been great.
I have so much respect for you and Mizelle for the ability to just do that and like I don't know, go for like the full like 24-hour awake cycle to just cast as much League of Legends as possible. You know, that's pretty respectful. And you're also, of course, covering the NACL qualifiers. We're going to be on the shows this weekend on Rally Cry Official for our semifinals and finals. And hey, the NACL regular season also getting underway, so make sure you stay tuned into that. But I think we got ready. I think we're about ready to hop into our headlines. We got some questions about both the NACL and the qualifiers, so let's hop right into it. Starting off with the NACL, we have some interesting storylines coming through this weekend. Specifically, our top dog, Team Liquid Challengers. They had a 2-4 week in week number 4. They won one against MU and FlyQuest, and then they got 0-2'd by Wildcard. This is the first losing record that they had all season. Dimitri, is this a bad sign, or is our TLC still your runaway favorites to win the league?
We gotta blow up the whole roster. Spawn, we're done for, man. We've got to do something. I think it was inevitable. The fact that they were going only a single loss throughout every single week is surprising and definitely a strong trend. I know coming into the season, people were like, this team should be top 2. They already made a pretty deep run last time, and they kept all the same roster while multiple different iterations of other teams were coming through to the league. So to see them at first is not surprising. I know there's the APA tweet of him saying we literally had like a 2-4 record this week and we're still first. NACL is so free, man. Like it's just I don't think anything is going to be wrong. And looking at their future schedule, like coming into week 5, they're going against Fear, DSG, and Supernova. I think they should be able to take care of business. I also think this is a wild card that is starting to ramp up into the back half of the split because of the changes they made. They have looked pretty shaky without Trevor and Faisal. So I think that they're still trying to find an identity, and hopefully it's coming together.
You're talking about Fear, right? With Trevor and Faisal?
Oh, yeah. Fear. That team. And then wild card, I mean, hey, man, Dombray's been nice. I've actually been really impressed with Dombray. So I definitely am looking forward to what Wildcard can give us, especially if Heal is going to continue to get us more and more of those carrier performances.
Yeah, dude, TL, I mean, they had so much room to work with. They had like a 5-game lead over the rest of the league, and like, you know, honestly, dropping a few games here and there is a good sign in my eyes for that, like, this league actually can be a little bit more competitive. Maybe I don't have them as high as a runaway favorite because definitely some flaws were exposed, but I think overall, the games that they had this week, they were playing just against very, like, solid teams who had, like, very solid performances in their specific games. Like, in the loss against Maryville, Zyko's Alistar went absolutely crazy. Just, like, constant engages all the time. Spyrex in the SpyQuest game, I think, what, he had, like 15 kills on his ear, or is that the game where he had like 15 kills his ear against?
Yeah, it was game 2. That was the one where he got MVP. That game, I mean, that entire series is so weird, man. Like, you watch game 1, quadra kill at like 7 minutes for Arrow. I was like, I even tweeted, I was like, this game 1 doesn't count. We're waiting for FlyQuest TL to start, guys. Like, I think there's a bit of a delayed schedule, and I thought first day, the MU series, I was like, okay, they lost one game. That's the only game they're going to lose this week because it's been the trend, right? Of they only lose a single game during every week, and then we're chilling. And then the FlyQuest series, I was like, okay, game one, we're good, we're chilling, like we're on track for a 2-0. Spyrock drops a nasty bomb. They
Yeah.
dive the Nexus at the end of the game to give APA a quadra kill, which unfortunately is gonna mess up a few stats. I was already like looking at Gold GG. I was like, God damn it, guys! Like, come on.
Yeah, now he has this like really good stats on ASOL, which is always just a good thing to see for APA,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But the wild card one, like, I think seeing wildcard perform that well is similar to the wildcard that we saw in spring, where they just take over some of the best teams. And this isn't a wildcard that isn't necessarily like super surging. They are second currently in the league. They are 2 games behind TL. But in this week alone, they win 1-1 versus Supernova and 1-1 versus AoE. Like, those are teams that we are expecting them to very handily take care of, which is good for those teams as an upset. I think it shows that it shows more of how close this league can be. But for a wild card that is looking to try to make the top end of playoffs and to continue on and maybe even make a deep run to finals, do you think it's a tiny bit worrisome how spotty some of their performances can be?
Yeah, sometimes they get kind of blown open a little bit, which is definitely concerning. But I'll say their TL series did look very good. Specifically, like just like how set they were on like this very specific playstyle. On like, you know, we know like there was a whole meme about Zamudo like not buying any control wards. They knew that that guy was going to be getting camped over and over again, and so they stuck him on Rumble. Just like they kept sending everyone topside, and it actually ended up working pretty well. And so if they can, you know, maybe continue to play like that, or maybe, you know, adjust in different ways to, you know, make sure that they don't have these like random times where Zamudo's caught out in side lanes and dies, because the guy is very, very good, very, very talented. Also a bit of a dirty inter every once in a while, so, you know, it's all right.
Oh, for sure.
but yeah, Wildcard is actually a team I'm very excited about, and you know, they're in second place, and I think that deservedly so at this point.
I was excited to see what wildcard looked like, not only with Zamudo coming in, but also I wanted to see how Lens would develop in the back half of the split, because in spring, I think Wildcard in general was a bit of a slow starter, but definitely was one of those teams that everyone started getting very excited for, thanks to some top lane shenanigans from Moose Hater. And during all of that, I think Lens was just getting better and better. We got super huge carrier performances from them. I think their series versus versus TL at the end of the season was one of the best regular season matches, bar none. And now we get to see, I think, Lens, who is still struggling. This is a bit of a different AD carry meta, although there are some of the same champions. I think how the support roles interacting is definitely a learning curve for this team right now, especially with how they've had to change their support at least a few times now.
Yeah, it might even happen again. So hopefully for Wildcard,
who knows, man.
They keep things together. I think Don Bray is a very solid player, so I'm happy that he's getting his opportunity, getting a chance to be top 2. Before I move on, I do just want to mention this real quick. Last week we did our little Salt Street bets, and Hawk and I put, you know, money on different teams to perform well.
I saw that. Yeah.
You know the teams that Hawk put money into? It was TL, Maryville, and Team Fish Taco. They all losing records. So that's all I'm gonna say. We're winning, right? We're winning so far. We're doing pretty good. Speaking of doing good,
he's not even here to defend himself, man.
Hey, I'm just taking the dub. Speaking of teams that I picked, actually, we can move on to our second topic, because AoE Esports actually having a very solid week on their own run. They went 4-2 and actually ended off with a 1-1 against Disguise, and which I thought was probably like the best series of that entire week. That AoE DSG series like was low key a pretty massive banger. They also 2-0'd EG and went 1-1 with Wildcard, as we said before. They're, you know, starting to creep their way up there in the standings here, Alk. They're like tied for 7th right now. Do they have a chance to continue this growth and make it to the top half?
Hell no, this team is fraudulent as bro. Like, the fact that you took this bet on AoE is so fraudulent, man. Like, dude. Oh no. I'm so sorry, but like every time I watch this team, I'm like, Will, I need you to play. Like, when Will's playing great, I think we get to see bits and pieces, some of that spark that we saw in their playoffs run so many years ago. But right now, every time they're playing, I feel like they're a little bit lost. I take a look at their roster and I'm like, Concept sometimes is hit or miss. Will sometimes is hit or miss. Dark Wings, same thing. This team is literally as close to the Vibes team as I can get. I thought Darkwings on Zed looked incredible, and those are the moments that I want this AoE to have, but I need them to hone in on their consistency before I have them making any kind of splash in playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, that is fair. I think though, overall, like when you take a look at their record, like it might be fraudulent one way, it also could kind of be fraudulent the other way. They had that Maryville series where like Will had to play 80 carry, and so that's just like a 2-0 already off
Okay.
the board. If they
Okay, yeah, like
if they split that,
sure.
that's another game. They're like already in sixth right now. And honestly, that DSG series, like both of those games could have gone either way, in my opinion. I
Sure.
think that Link specifically has been playing pretty well on different team fighting 80 carries. Obviously, still like the lane is things that we talk about, but AOE, I mean, they're looking. I'm excited
Yeah.
about this team.
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah.
excited about this team.
I was gonna say they also could have potentially gone 2-0 versus Wildcard, right? Like the one
Yeah,
game that they did lose when the 1-1, they were pretty in that game for the most part. It came down to a weird ass Baron dance, in my opinion, where they're like sitting there, they like go back and forth. Darkwings has a pop off play, but he presses tab and his whole team's dead. And he's like,
yeah.
all right, guys, well, that's cool.
Yeah, the Z game was an interesting one. Actually, kind of ended up working out as you said. But um, overall, for the one thing I want to see AOE improve on is actually just like doing a little bit more in the early game. I feel like that's what they used to be good at with winning in the spring split. And Will like is a very good jungler, but I feel like there's a very good jungler like past 15 minutes because that guy
Hmm.
is like always 0-0-0 at like the 10-15 minute mark, like when the first like early game plays are done. And so if they could find other ways to like get leads, maybe this team is a little bit legit. But in terms of getting to top half, you think about the other teams that like they're going to be competing with, and then it becomes a little bit hard to justify.
Yeah, so just for reminder in terms of the standings, bottom half right now, starting, I'll even start at fifth, is Fear, Maryville, AoE, Evil Geniuses, Supernova, and Team Fish Taco. Now, talking about people that are directly around them, Maryville are actually looking like pretty okay, but I look at their schedule and they're going to be playing AoE on the second day of this next weekend. They're going to play DSG on the first and then Wildcard, which is kind of, I think, a pretty decent schedule, especially if we're talking about the first day DSG and Wildcard. So I think Maryville are definitely going to have to overperform. They are one game below or one game above AoE. So in terms of standings, they definitely will need to punch up a little bit. And Evil Geniuses, they had a new roster move. They've brought in Surdy, Soul's retiring, so unfortunate there. I really loved what
Yeah.
Soul was able to do, but this was a pretty tough split already, and I think the roster move, while comes at the expense of Soul's career, Surdy is just an insane player. This guy is a challengers level top laner through and through every single time, and so far this weekend was not very kind.
Yeah.
They went 0-6, and that's
Oh,
not.
they won 2 games. EG
Oh,
won 2 games. They 2-0'd Maryville, but Maryville kind of
oh,
was on the downturn a little
sure.
bit like throughout this week. Shaden played really well this game.
Who would have thought Shaden played really well? That's nothing new.
That's kind of their formula, yeah. It's
Yeah,
not like
Shaden's
much has
doing really
changed.
well. King is
In my
playing
opinion.
very well, but Surdy, I think, is still he's still integrating into the roster. He's only had about a week that we know of to really get with the team and kind of play with them. And who knows? I think with how good he was on Team Liquid first, and obviously his teams before, you look at the track record of Team Liquid first. You saw how we saw how they performed in regular season, how they performed in promotion tournament. I think this is going to feel very similar, even though King is very, very, very good right now.
Yeah.
I think he is a top 380 carry bar none. So I'm looking at their
You're
schedule.
waffling a little bit right now. I'm just not gonna lie.
Like, look, if they are going to make a run, right, like it's going to have to be in these last 2 weeks, but everything is against them. And so
Yeah.
to be expected, I don't know if EG are going to be able to pull through.
This
So
is always
AoE,
the EG gambit. Like
yeah.
you mentioned like the Surdy track record. That's the same thing with like all the players that they have like on their team right now. So I don't know. It's been hard to continue to have faith in them, in my opinion.
Do you know what EG's last week of schedule is?
You want to read it out?
Is Wildcard, Team Liquid, and DSG.
Oh god. Okay. They need a 3-0. If they like 5-1 this week, hey, then maybe we can like start having
It's
another
playable.
conversation. Yeah, maybe. All right. Well, that's enough about the NACL. We'll be talking to Young a little bit later, once again for his time at DSG. But time to head into the qualifiers, where we'll be covering those games this weekend. Starting off with a recap of what happened, because expectations of what we were looking for kind of were flipped on its head. The day 5 games actually ended up working a lot more competitive, or even it's a lot more upsets overall. Keelix Grandpa Gamers to the 2 over Komodo, Miracle falling 2-1 to Apex Mission Impossible, and CCG also through the lower bracket, taking the win over Froggy 5. Is there any advantage of running through this lower bracket? Because it seems like it happened this qualifier.
Well, thankfully to our new system here at the LCS Challengers League qualifiers, where you get 10 points for getting first. No, the lower bracket was pretty nice. I think it does speak a little bit to some of our teams. Now, I said this on broadcast. I'm going to say this every time people want to bring this up. The Komodo KGG game, at least game 2, has an asterisk. Aaron's power goes out. They have to swap AD carries, but Bud is playing AD. You have hybrids coming in as from their coach position playing top lane. He got smacked. Like, Sunlight gave him 0 respite in that matchup. There was no mercy going on up there.
Bro up at the Kled and thought he like had a shot. Did not. He got a couple kills, but
look, it was Kled and Aatrox, if I remember correctly. Like, that is a good matchup. Like, that is a perfectly fine matchup for Kled. Hybrids just yeah, that matchup.
He was down like 100 CS to the Sunlight Darius. It was not.
Yeah, that one was not very fun. So I'm looking at these other matches. The Apex Mission Impossible one, I think, was probably the most hyped. Just because you look at the other ones, CCG Froggy, I cast that game. That was resident sleeper o'clock. Froggy 5, I don't think woke up for most of those games. Colthrow was alive for game 2. That's what I love. I was talking to you. I was telling you the Karthus game.
Yeah, the Karthus.
Oh, I literally was like, this is a Karthus game. And then I did the Cheese Chasers Seamless Revenge game, and I was like, okay, actually, the best champion versus Scooped is Twitch, because Scoop does this thing where he always goes one extra wave, or he doesn't respect people who have invisibility. So we saw Honori B just walk up after trading. Like, Scoop thought, oh, I won this trade. I'm chilling. Like, this is a free game for me. Walks up to the wave, Scooped out of brush. Boom, Twitch Yumi, dead instantly. And I'm like, oh, look, I literally called it. I got to see a Twitch game, which is very nice. And I thought it was literally the best Twitch angle they could have gotten. But Teamless Revenge just completely bomb out. Apex Mission Impossible was a repeat of our round 1 in this group. Miracle took the 2-1. They move forward. They lose to Lit in very convincing fashion. And then this time around, yet again, it's not like Miracle had any roster substitutions. The night before, we thought Moz was going to play. Then day of come in, Rovex is playing mid lane.
Moz played game 1. They got destroyed. And then they were like, all right, well, we got to get Rovex in here. He played the Yasuo and stuff like that. Yeah.
AMI, I think we're definitely surging. And I think that was just, I want to attribute that first day of games on Saturday to there was a magical air going around in the qualifiers.
Yeah, I will say, even though the Komodo game 2 was a little bit fraudulent with the roll swaps, I mean, game 1 they did not look very good either. Keelix and Grandpa Gamers, I think, actually looked better in game number 1 than game number 2. They had like a very clean game plan. Their pick comp was really nice, nice to watch. And you know, they ended up taking down Komodo. And I think the interesting part of this question is that, you know, while all the teams like that made it through the lower bracket, like maybe had that momentum from that win that they had after falling in the first round, they all lost in the quarterfinals, and our semifinals are still just the top 4 teams. And so I think it's maybe less of like a format issue or like a format reason for why like these lower seeded teams won, and more maybe just like Miracle and Komodo weren't as good as we thought, and it actually just is like a top 4 league.
Oh, yeah. I think coming in, everybody was like, this feels very top heavy. Like, we look at our top 4, you look at the rosters, you look at the names, you look at how they perform, and you look at everyone else, you're like, okay, this should be like, the fact that we saw Mirage Alliance as a roster even come into this league, we're like, okay, they're first, and then everyone else is like playing for second, third, fourth. And I'm sad that none of our series actually went to 3. Like, we had straight up like 8-0 for our top seeds. They just they took care of business and moved on. Some of that I think may also just attribute to the broadcast schedule, right? Like we haven't seen the top seeds play for a little bit, and so we've only been focusing on these teams as a broadcast. We had the Sunday after they won, and we got to see some upper bracket matches. We got to see the lower bracket, and then from there we just kept playing our game. So we only saw those teams. We were only focused on them, and it's like, okay, well if they're fighting up against each other, like, do we think that there's a potential there for an upset? Do we think that there's something there? And it may have added like a little bit of like a blind side, like, oh, maybe we could see the run, like these guys are running hot. Like I know I was talking about on our broadcast, like the momentum of winning yesterday can sometimes be like a full energy, like give them a lot of momentum going into the series. It just went nowhere. But it's good for our top teams. I think if we would have seen upsets, that would have been really bad for the top of our league, although it would have been very exciting.
Yeah, I am excited that we do get the top four. Although it is nice to see like a little bit of movement. I think the biggest surprise was that like again teams like Miracle, Komodo, maybe people were grouping them in that like top half or top group of teams, and they really just ended up underperforming, which I think is the bigger storyline right now. And speaking of, the semifinals are going to be happening again on Saturday, and right now Mirage Alliance is still in and is still looking pretty good. They did falter a little bit in their first quarterfinal game against Apex, but they ended up sealing it up and winning that next one pretty convincingly. Now that we're at the top four, which team right now out of Winthrop, Team Ambition, or Lit has the best chance of beating Mirage Alliance in this event?
I'm taking a look at our rosters and I'm like, I want to say Winthrop because they're our second seed, right? Like they should have the best. If Conveying is playing mid lane and he did in this last series, I think maybe it's played. I think maybe it's something that they could do. Now, when we say beating them, do I think that they could beat them in a full series? Probably not. But Mirage have shown that they are at least almost able to give up multiple games. We've only seen them lose one, but with not only the consistency of qualifier teams as well as just how strong Mirage Alliance look, like even if their early game is behind, even if they do kind of fall asleep at the wheel for the first 15 minutes, Neo just doesn't lose. Like
that game. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, God.
Game one versus Apex Mission Impossible was just like, honestly, as hype as we were getting for Apex Mission Impossible, there was like that bit of like mounting dread in the back of my head of like, okay, well, Neo's just gonna win this game.
Neo's 3 edit. Neo's 4.
Yeah, like, all right, like we're just waiting for Neo to decide he wants to win the game. I love the clip that Chad actually posted where they're like diving the Nexus and Neo dies after landing like a hell of a lot of damage, and Chad just goes, report my ADK for flashing for dying with flash up. I'm as a marksman myself, I'd be like, yeah, man, my bad. I didn't just carry this entire game after you guys decided to run it down dirty style for 25 minutes.
Yeah, that game was a fun one. I mean, obviously shouts to Apex, especially like Reg, for making it like a bit of an interesting game, but I feel like that's kind of what's happened whenever Mirage Alliance come in. Like they maybe like look like a little shaky at the beginning. Who knows if it's because of sleep deprivation or not? But then they come back. They'll end up closing it up. I will say the one team. So I think this question I can approach it one of two different ways. The first one, like being like very practical and like, oh, okay. So the practical answer is like, there's no way Mirage Alliance loses any best of 5, and so the best chance is best of 3, and the one best of 3 is Team Ambition. So maybe my answer is Team Ambition. I think actually I might go Lit Esports here. I've been high on this team right now. Hey, Sajid and Chae, they were up against Scooped in the bot lane of Cheese Chasers. They look pretty good. They did not maybe suffer in lane as much as people perhaps were expecting. And Cheese Chasers versus Lit, I thought Cheese Chasers was probably the best 5 through 8 seed that we had left in the tournament, and they Lit kind of just took care of business. And the top side of the map, I think, is good enough to at least attempt to contest with the top side of Mirage Alliance, or I think it's good enough to at least be pretty even. And then if Sajid and Chai can stay alive in the bot lane, maybe it's a series, but of course they do have to get through Winthrop first as well, which maybe makes it a little bit more unlikely.
Yeah, I want to look at our 80 carries, right? Like in our top four, we have Neo Mobility, Levitate, and Sajid. Neo, for the most part, is so solid in laning phase, and I think that is something that the rest of these 380 carries have a hard time with getting down every single game. Like Sajid is specifically tends to falter in the laning phase, will take random trades. Chaye is it's a little less so our 80 carries and more so like our supports and their positioning. Dardoch definitely is someone who just kind of sometimes just randomly dies, but he has Neo as his 80 carry, so they're able to make trades. Snow in their last series, he posted it on Twitter, and I told this man in DMs like he was running it down.
He was running it a bit. Yeah,
he was running it a bit versus NPC. Chaye, like same thing there. I always think of that Lulu game that we saw where he just like very randomly walked up, lost 60% of his HP at level 1, and then like Sajid just can't play the game. That's just not a lot of fun. And while Winthrop, I think I haven't had the most amount of like stage broadcast games, being able to like watch back on like 2x speed. I still am a little worried about this team. So I want to see. It'll be hard to make week on week improvements to your laning phase, going up against Neo and Dardoch. But I was gonna say if Lit are going to try stuff like they did in their series this last weekend, if you didn't watch it, Nasus top lane for Dragoon, and they're playing Ziggs Senna, like that's the
like
good
Everfrost
stuff.
Nasus too. It wasn't even like the stacking up.
Yes,
on the
as
queues,
you should,
like
as you should. If you're not gonna play against Squishy's top lane, Everfrost, Emax, that's your goal right there. People like to pick Kennen into it. That's the perfect Kennen counter right there.
I'm excited to. Oh, cat cam.
Mimi. Yeah. Okay, well, Mimi hopefully might join us, but
I will say last thing before we move on to our last question is that on the topic of Lit once again, they were the closest game that Mirage Alliance played in the OQs.
Yes.
That game actually went pretty far in the Team Ambition one, not as much, even though that was the 4-0 game. So I'm excited for the semifinal. I think Mirage Alliance probably versus the field, I'll probably still take Mirage Alliance, but I think our other three teams, have some outside chances, which should be a pretty good time.
What if what if I have a secret hidden option?
I mean,
can I import JDG?
No, that's not how this works. What?
You said which team has the best chance. You didn't say I couldn't import.
They're not in the tournament. They get the sign up start next week. They gotta hit
okay,
all
right. Look,
hit their lines on the rally card Twitter.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make sure to ping them.
All right. Last question before we head out for these headlines. We're gonna play a little bit of virtual GM here because the first qualifier is about to end. The second one going to begin, and there is a new policy intact where if you do win the entire split, win the entire OQ2, you automatically qualify into the promotion tournament. On top of the fact that there are also some teams that do have a decent amount of points going into this second OQ. So, Alk, what I'm going to ask you to do is take one, maybe like two players, because remember, there's a 3 out of 5 roster thing that we have to keep into account, to one of the eliminated OQ teams that turn them into somebody that can contend with the top 4 that we have right now.
All right. First one, Apex Mission Impossible. PCL is a free agent. That's all I'm going to say. PCL is a free agent. I think PCL would actually make big moves on literally like a ton of top 12 rosters, even some of the teams that we saw bounce out in round 2, like in the lower bracket. That is definitely like a very, very good upgrade if he is in the market and looking for a team. Apex Mission Impossible. I'm just going to be a PCL shell for the rest of this. Like you can unfortunately, I'm sorry, Decoy, you're a great weak side top laner, but PCL is PCL. We saw what he did in a single split without any OQ1. Like this guy was running the league. I could also say the same for a team like Miracle, but it seems like they wanted to keep a lot of the team. It feels like a lot of this team is people who have very recently worked together or in the past have worked together. Having people like Rovex and Citywitty, Lawrence, you look at the people who are, I'm pretty sure, on staff for this.
Yeah, a lot of Harrisburg people.
Yeah, Harrisburg, like these are people who have worked with each other in the past. So to see them with each other is not necessarily the worst, but I've seen one good game from Lords this entire
Yeah.
the entire split.
I saw one good Swiss game as well, so we can make it two. But yeah, other than that,
Okay.
hasn't been great.
Yeah, I like PCL makes an instant upgrade. If for some reason the Cheese Chasers lose out on the Barrack contract, he is the most exciting one coming in.
Love Barrack. Love me some Barrack. Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, so your one answer would be over on Apex.
Hey, I'm gonna give it to Apex because I think they actually have a very convincing roster. And if Baz can play as well as we saw him up against Neo, which to be fair, he got stomped, but I liked some things. There were some promising things coming out of this guy.
Yeah, the Varus game, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting because they're a team that didn't even make like top 8, or sorry, they made top 8, but they were like a very low seed coming in.
Yeah, of course.
They do look nice. I honestly like don't think that Miracle series even could be considered an upset because Miracle have looked very shaky throughout the entire season, and actually I don't know really how faithful I am in that roster despite some of the name value that they have on their team. I'll give you two that I have right now. The first would be on the side if Miracle decide that they don't want to play again because they did end up not making the playoffs. Taking a look at Cheese Chasers right now, they're a team that really likes to hard play around their bot laner Scooped. You know who else was on a team that played around their hard bot laner, or not hard, well, their hard carry bot laner, hard carry bot laner.
Gotcha, got some.
Daption on UST.
Okay.
Was with Shogo. So if Miracle decide they don't want to run this back, I think if Cheese Chasers, I think Sandwich is very good, young prodigy, but if you have Scooped and Daption in your bot lane along with the rest of the top side that's been performing very well, I think that instantly like shoots Cheese Chasers into like a potential top 4 seed.
Sure. Actually, okay. You want to do like the ultimate trade? So Miracle, they lose Daption. Daption goes over to Cheese Chasers. Shogo comes in and plays AD for this team.
What? Instead of Scooped? You're kicking Scoop
no,
like that?
No. For Miracle. I'm sorry. I should have clarified.
Okay.
Miracle. Miracle, they make the legendary acquisition because there is a new system in place for players that are in collegiate, as long as they're part of a ongoing program and they are on a specific type of visa. I don't remember which one. There's so many of them for schools. They can play, which is really exciting for players like Akashi, like we got to see last split on St. Clair, who really wanted to play and couldn't, unfortunately. Shogo as well, who has been waiting for a chance to play. He was actually the coach for the Rock Bottom team last split, and unfortunately we're not able to make it much further after getting all the way to the finals. This is really exciting. I think if we could see Shogo potentially playing, he just signed and committed to Ole Miss. Like, this is something to do in the offseason for CLOL, like play on a pretty decent roster, and I think that would definitely level up. It would mean that City stays on jungle, and we don't have to do this legendary player swap if Kindred is alive and available. So, I think it's...
My other option was going to be towards Miracle, because I think that, although the role swapping is fun, I think City Witty, just in general, has more impact in the jungle, like, if he's playing in the games, even though he's probably a better marksman than LJX as well, which is a little unfortunate, but... I was just gonna say, like, grab somebody like a Noriboob and stick him on Miracle, and that like might even make a better team. So, just like having a solid AD and then having City consistently play jungle, maybe that is what like helps this team. But I mean, if Shogo's on the market, then I'm hitting his line.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, I think we're taking the Shogo one for free, guys.
I mean, hopefully we see some upgrades, some roster changes for the next OQ, because that always makes things a little bit more interesting. But I'm excited for this upcoming weekend of games. AlkBattery, thank you so much for joining me for the headlines. What are you working on? Any shout outs?
I've got LPL this coming morning. So if you're somehow alive. Oh wait, actually I forgot. When does this podcast come out?
So this podcast comes out tomorrow at noon. So July the 5th at noon. So
Oh, okay. Well, by the time this comes out, the LPL night will be already over.
You can watch the VODs.
Series. Yeah, okay. Watch the VODs. Make sure that you're going on. I'm doing JDG versus FPX. Should be a lot of fun. Other than that, make sure you're supporting Tier 2 and Tier 3. Mirage Alliance versus Team Ambition and Winthrop versus Lit. That'll be a lot of fun this weekend. And NACL will be going on, so make sure you're going up there. And if you have extra money, hit the sub button, please.
Hell yeah.
Also hit. Are you guys? Do you guys have the sub button on Twitch? I forgot because I don't. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean we don't stream too much anymore, but we do
Okay,
have
you
it.
guys are
We
frauds.
get
You
a
guys need
couple
to
of
hit the.
them.
You guys need to hit the
I
stream
mean,
button, brother man.
I'm just happy that we got like an official OQ place, so we don't have to always be streaming.
Oh,
all the time,
true. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna lie though. Real quick before we end the podcast, all those OQ streams actually got me partnered. They got me.
That is true. Yeah, I got affiliate as well. We got affiliate as well through that, which was
that
really
was
hype.
so free. And Kai was like, I think I turned my chat on, and he immediately like put it to follower only, and I felt bad. But then I saw that I got like 115 followers, and
Hell
he's like,
yeah.
"See, you're getting free stats." And I'm like, "Yeah, because they want to type kick W in chat, man." Like,
Yeah, I mean those are the stocks. Make sure to check out AlkBattery socials as well, Twitter and Twitch. I don't know how much you stream, but it should be pretty fun.
hell no, brother. I only streamed because we had to get the stream. We had to get those games up.
That's what I'm saying.
I might stream some prep here and there, but other than that, I'm chilling. We're gonna be on NACL like we were talking about, and it's been a lot of fun being on here. Time to watch some DSG Young. Let's go.
Hell yeah. We're gonna go to our part 2 where Hawk and I did sit down with Young to talk about his time on DSG. We're back with another exciting interview here. We got the mid laner of Disguise, Young, coming in to talk with us. Young, welcome, and thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
So we heard you were on the move, and now you are back at home after spending some time out in LA working with Golden Guardians. What was that experience like for you? Were there some good parts, bad parts?
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty spoiled. Like I got really lucky because obviously I got to play LCS. Like I didn't even play like an academy game before that, so I did that, and then I got to go to MSI as well with them. So even though I only had one split in academy, I feel like I got like a lot more than what other people in academy like have gotten experience-wise.
So you basically started the run for GG to get to MSI. So
true, yeah.
I mean that Cassidy game, that was a difference maker. That was the start.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I mean
you laid the groundwork.
Yeah, maybe like 0.1% of the work, but yeah, the work was
more
done.
work than I've done to get a team to MSI. So I mean that's pretty cool. I would say. Oh, you said you were moving back home. Or well, Grape said that. Where around is home for you? Just out of curiosity, are you like East Coast, West Coast? Like, was LA a big move for you, or?
Actually, so I grew up in LA, but I moved to Utah when I was 12. So it wasn't like too weird going back to LA, but
okay, yeah.
I'm back in Utah now, so.
Nice. Yeah, we're both East Coast boys, so like LA is pretty far for us when we were out there this past month. But yeah, okay, well that's really cool. Did you like what were some of your favorite like LA moments, like outside of just playing the game? Did you get to like meet anyone or like do anything cool? Like I'm curious.
It was really cool meeting and like seeing a lot of the pro players in LA, I guess. And it's just funny. There's like a meta in LA. Like all the pros go to Saltel and stuff. Like eat at the same restaurants.
Right.
You'll see the pros hang out all the time. So that's pretty cool. I was pretty lucky. Like I had a car, so it was nice to like just do stuff on my off days. But yeah, I worked hard, so I'm not one of those NA players that.
Yeah,
I promise. But I did do stuff on my off days. I drove around.
Not fulfilling the stereotype. You were actually putting in the hours in the facility.
Oh yeah.
We got like a small taste of the LA the Sawtell lifestyle when we were out there for CeeLo for like a couple of days, but yeah, it sounds like fun. And how far? So like, is it like a far drive to get over there from where you are, or?
It's a 10-hour drive. So.
Dang. So you had a long one.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, I know that you guys also Golden Guardians partnered with AOE, and that was something that we got to talk about with Winnie and Skytech a couple of weeks ago. I was wondering what you thought about that partnership that you had with that tier 3 team, and did you guys like ever hang out like in the studio together or things like that? Because they're your guys as well. Like you played with them back in 2022.
Yeah, I also feel pretty spoiled too that we had this partnership because like I was really close with Winston, Skytech, and Lynx and everyone, and I actually got to like pretty much work with or not work with them, but like I hung out with them all the time. They came to the same facility and stuff. We got food a lot together. So yeah, I felt it was pretty lucky that we had the partnership just for like friendship wise.
That's so awesome.
A lot.
Yeah, that's so awesome that you're able to hang out with them a lot. I mean That's really cool. And I mean, obviously, that kind of flows right into the next thing we're going to talk about. Like, you played on that AoE team last summer after having taken a break and now here in the Challengers League. What's sort of just, walk us through your journey. What's that sort of been like, especially how, you took a break and you come back and, I mean, performed fantastically.
Mm. Yeah. I was pretty lost. Like, I was kind of done with League after 100 next and everything. I thought I'd be done, but I went to school. I was doing fine in school, but honestly, I think like League is just like too addicting or something. I just came back to it. But I didn't really like treat
it
AoE
always
too
pulls
seriously.
you back in, like
Yeah. Yeah, but AoE was just fun. Like, it was just a friend with team, like a team with friends. Like, we all liked each other out of game, so it wasn't really like a stressful environment. It was just like a fun one, and we did pretty well together. So it was a fun experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then becoming a part of Golden Guardians Challengers, that what was that sort of like, getting called up to the next level, as it were? And also, we mentioned getting to play on the LCS stage for a couple games, and then coming into the split, it was leaked that you were originally offered the position of substitute on Golden Guardians LCS after Challengers roster went away, but then you decided to go to Disguised, which, we can talk more about Disguised a little bit later. But what is your journey this year sort of been like, as far as playing in Challengers for that first time?
Yeah, so I was after AoE. I thought I performed pretty well, so I got a lot of academy tryouts, and GG was the tryouts I think I did the best in, and I got the spot. So I was a junior, I think, at my school before leaving, and I had like a full ride and everything, so it was like a tough decision to leave, but I decided to just send it because it's not like, it's an opportunity that not many people get. So, but I'm glad I did. It was academy is really fun. Obviously, I'm sad it ended, but I definitely improved a lot. I learned a lot. Like, even like the first 2 weeks where I just played LCS scrims was the most I've grown as a player, I think. So yeah, just having that environment where you should only focus on like getting better is just like really cool.
So you were in college when you were playing like with AoE with 100 next back in the day as well?
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think you played much of like collegiate league. You were mostly just like an amateur at the time. So was there a decision between, choosing to play like CLOL versus amateur, and like the balance between, being a pro player or being trying to make it pro and also going to school?
Yeah, so I don't like, I grew up Mormon, like, I'm from Utah, so yeah. There's a school called BYU. It's kind of memed on, but I ended up going there because it's just cheap. It's for Mormons, but it was just cheap. It was just, like, a good opportunity for me. And I was always like decent at League. I was always high rank, but I didn't really like want to pursue it that much. But honestly, college is pretty boring. Maybe due to the fact that I went to a Mormon school, but I just kept playing League. I got better at it, and like the opportunities just came, I guess. Like, I didn't really like the 100 next was a really cool opportunity, and I still did school at the same time. I didn't really like fully send either one until academy, I think.
Do you think that having that extra time kind of made you feel like you were able to improve like at a higher rate and things like that, or
extra time in what? Sorry.
Like, now that you were able to fully pursue being a pro for this year, you think that's like helped you?
Yeah. I realized like there's a lot of stuff out of game you have to do to be the best. Like, just seeing how LCS players live and practice, like there's a lot of work they do out of game as well. So you can't really like, if you really want to like go pro, like to reach the highest level, you have to like dedicate your life to it. Like, you can't really just do one, like focus on multiple things, to be honest.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I'm always been someone that's done a lot of different stuff. So sometimes, being able to focus on one thing can be nice. So, yeah, but I mean, now this year playing on DSG, I mean, this is, I guess, like a twofold question, but what is it like getting to play on this team that has gotten, I mean, so much exposure, at least as far as Challenger is concerned? And not only that, your name was also known by far more casual League fans because of those couple weeks on LCS. So, a lot of times Academy players, Challengers League players, like not as well known by the general public, but you've really I feel like had a unique opportunity playing on both the skies and that. What has that experience sort of been like? You know, we've been seeing your like MS Paint drawings popping off on Twitter and stuff. So you know.
Yeah. So yeah, when I was like, I was on the fence of joining just because it's a lot of pressure. There's a lot more eyes on you, but I just thought career-wise it would be the best for me because sitting as like a sub isn't really, you're not doing anything. Your name's just gonna get forgotten about. And honestly, like I don't know, like the future in NA looks kind of bleak. Like I don't know what's gonna go on, but I just thought it'd be best to like like go hard to split. You know, there'll be a lot of people watching, like, and if I do well, I do well. If I int and, you know, people hate me, like, whatever, like, at least, you know, at least I did it.
What was the process of, like, getting reached out to join the team? Like, did Toast, like, you know, slip into your DMs, was like, hey, or was there, like, a different process with that?
Yeah, Golden Glue DM'd my GM, or he DM'd Inero, and Inero was like, you want to join Disguised? And I was like, I'm open to it, sure, and Inero helped out and, like, all the offers and stuff. And I was talking to Golden Glue too, and just asking about the team and stuff and everything. So. Okay.
Have you gotten to like hang out with this guy's Toast at all, or no, maybe not like hang out, but you know, like yeah, like.
Oh, we had a team dinner with Tomio, the people who were left in LA.
Okay.
Tomio, Fake God, Golden Glue, the what is it, the CFO, Fifth Laren, and Toast was there too. It was in Saltel actually, so. That was fun.
Even he's getting into the esports lifestyle now. Right? He got like 2 teams. He's got to hang out in Salto as well.
Oh, that's so good. That's a lot of fun. I'm also curious. Like, you know, I kind of joked about your MS Paint drawings, but like I've got to like, are you making the MS Paint drawings? You got someone else? Like is this like the Young original?
I have a dear friend. I'm not gonna draw.
Oh
like,
no!
I have a dear friend that makes them.
You got a ghostwriter?
Yeah, I have a ghostwriter.
Because you got one for like every champion that you end up playing, and
that's so good. Like honestly.
Yeah, I'll credit them soon. I hope. They're a bit shy, so.
That's valid. I understand. Man, Grapes and I were talking about the drawings when we were talking about interviewing you. We're like, these are so funny. Like,
yeah, they're good.
They're popping off too. I mean, like, do you give that person like some influences, like, oh, like I want this, or they just kind of send some whatever they got over to you and you post it?
Yeah, they just watch my matches and then I'm just like, oh, I need like an image for a Twitter post, like to draw like this champion, and they're like, sure, and then they just like do it.
That's awesome. That's the best kind of art too, right? Like the MS Paint drawing, like that can't take more than 20 minutes, right? Like there you go, you whip it up, gets 700 likes on Twitter, no big deal. Like that's so good.
Yeah. Before we start talking about the NACL, which of course is probably why a lot of people are here, got to talk about another game that you guys played. That was the show match against
True.
Some of the former LCS veterans and legends. What was the decision? Well, first of all, if you want to talk about any fun stories that you had, like, you know, playing in that, and also the decision of like role swapping, and how did you decide to play each position like in that second game? Because little BM, but you know it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, Grapes, did you watch the stream? The casters were literally like, they got to do this because they're gonna shit on them so hard.
So okay, I actually feel bad because so game 1 champ select. We were like, holy shit, they picked Milio. Like, they're tryharding. Like, we might actually lose. We are not going to get embarrassed. So we had, like, a like, real draft. And then after playing it out, we are like, wait, what are we doing? Like we can just, like, we should make this more entertaining for the viewers. Because, honestly, game 1 is very boring. And we all, like, I'm pretty sure everyone played scared. Because, you know, there's, like a shit ton of people watching. Like, and, like, even Tomio was scared. I remember, like, I was scared, too. It's kind of nerve-wracking. We also had, like, we didn't know we were doing the show match till, like, a day before. So
damn, they just dropped that on you.
Funny. Yeah, but
like, hey, by the way, you're playing against like the 5 most famous people in LCS history. Like, good luck.
Yeah, but it was really fun. I think game 2 we just decided to roll swap and like pick whatever. Like I know Flowers was casting, so I just wanted to play Skarner.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You got to lane against Void Boy. What was that experience like? I mean, how much better has the league gotten since he's been in his prime? You know what I mean?
He's good. Honestly, I grew up watching him a lot. Like, it was really cool. Like, I grew up watching Skara, like all those people, so it was cool. Obviously, they haven't like played the game that much, so I can't like flame them for being bad or anything. Like, I still think he's he's still like you could tell like they have like some fundamentals. So
He still got
it's
it.
cool to see.
Right. Yeah. When Yoda finally takes out the lightsaber, right? Like they still got the sauce.
Like given the right draft and like if the stars align, like they probably could beat us.
There's a
And,
world where you guys lose game 1, you think?
Like in some twisted universe.
Yeah. Give them a little bit more practice time against like not gold 4 teams and flex Q, and like maybe they could find it. I'm also like in this conversation, you know, outside of just like the 5 with the Delta Fox players, who's like the coolest person you've gotten to play against? I mean, in both Challengers League and in LCS, like you've gotten to play against some very, very good players. I'm curious, like who's like what's your like most fun matchup or something that you look forward to?
It's kind of fanboy, but like when the only reason why I play mid is literally because of Bjergsen, and I remember I got to play like in an LCS scrim against Bjergsen, and that was like really cool. But
that's so cool.
I mean, that's
probably like the person I like freaked out the most when playing against. But yeah,
Bjergsen is why I started watching League as well, and so never got to your level, but it's all good. Now I'm watching you play instead, so idolizing.
But the inspiration was there, you know, like. You've gotten to Young's level just in the other side of the keys,
something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
Just as hard to get up here. I guess we can start talking about you and the team actually, because I mean it's pretty fun. It's pretty exciting, like season of challengers right now. Obviously the league has like shrunk from 16 to 10. What are your thoughts about like how strong the league is? Obviously TL is doing really well right now, but I mean, your teammates, a lot of them like ended up winning the whole thing. Do you think the league is like more stacked at the top? Is it like more top heavy, or overall level of play compared to last split?
I don't know if this is like biased or whatever, but I feel like it's definitely like a lot easier. It feels a lot easier to like win the split, like just playing against every team. I've been joking with like Prismal and Rosethorn, like if GG just kept their team, like we probably we could have won the whole thing, but. I think this league is really close. Like everyone can beat everyone. I know TL is like the standings are really good, but honestly, like I'm pretty sure literally anyone could win, given like the right meta and everything. So it's a close like league for sure.
Well, yeah, you guys split with them the first game of the season, right? So,
yeah.
One of their 3 losses right there.
I mean, it's felt really close watching it, and talking about your team in particular. I mean, like I know in the broadcast, like they've joked about like the curse or whatever, the 1-1 DSG curse. Like, have there been any sort of growing pains for coming together as a team, or is just like is it that freaking competitive? You know, that everyone's beating everyone, as you say.
At least for us, it feels like we always had winning spots in the games. Or this might be coping, I don't know, like I feel like on every team we say this, but like legitimately on DSG, like we always like I feel like we always stomped game 1, and then game 2 we were like kind of relaxed a little bit because we're like, oh, we just stomped these guys, it'll be easy. But we had like talks about that, and honestly last week was really good because one of our main goals was to just make sure we have like the same energy and focus for both games. So I think it showed last week. So we're just trying to replicate that, because I do think we're like insanely good. If we get a small lead, like it's very hard for the enemy team to do anything.
Yeah, that's valid. I mean, I also feel like it's definitely not cope to say like, oh, we had winning angles in every game. Like that's true. You always like, there's always a shot. Like, so no, that's not cope at all. That is cool to hear. Like, I totally understand like the getting lax and everything. And like you said, you're on a 5-game win streak right now, so y'all are looking pretty damn good. I mean, going into the second round robin, like, are you all feeling more confident, more together? Anything exciting that you're looking forward to, is or just like keep improving through playoffs?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the second round robin. I think we're coming together. I think the meta is also getting way better for us, and specifically me.
Less like Annie Ari every game, a little bit more pop off. Like I think
I picked Ari the most. I picked Ari the most. I think this split, or like that's like my most played champ this split. But like I literally just picked her up like in between splits. Like at MSI, I played Ari in solo queue. So honestly, it's not really like a champ I was like too comfortable on. Like obviously I'm comfortable on it now, but yeah, the meta's getting way better for me and for the team, I think. So we're coming together well, and I'm pretty like excited.
I saw you pick Silas, and I saw the patch change. I was like, let's go, my boy Young finally like actually gets to play the game. So
the melee mids are coming back, baby. That's what we like.
You have any like sleeper picks on this patch, or things that you like? Maybe you don't leak anything if you're gonna like be playing it tomorrow, but I mean,
I guess we'll see. Like the melee mids are strong. I can still play mages, so the mages might come out. Just I am a known Annie hater, so you may or may not see Annie, but yeah.
If Golden Glue is like, hey, I need Annie here, or you're fired, like you'll pick it. But other than that, like you're a hater, We'll know that Golden Glue held a gun to your head.
I'm not saying I'm like completely averse to picking Annie. Like I've picked it before.
Right.
But yeah.
But we'll know it's Golden Glue's fault though. That.
On a scale of like 1 to 10, like how like I guess 1 is like you want it to be over, and 10 is like I would play this forever. What are your thoughts on like the Shiv LeBlanc meta that's been going around?
Oh my god.
I feel like it's pretty divisive. There's some people that are very happy about it, and some people that are not very happy about it.
Yeah, I feel like it makes players that couldn't play LeBlanc before be able to play LeBlanc. So I'm kind of glad it's going away, because honestly, I was one of the like really good LeBlanc players, I think.
Yeah.
It honestly like it kind of removes a lot of like the skill needed to play her, because she doesn't have wave clear obviously if there's no Shiv. So I'm kind of happy it's going away, and I feel like it's even better for me because I can still play LeBlanc.
All the Elo inflated LeBlancs are gonna stop crimping your style, is what we're hearing.
You want to call in Elo? You want to call out one of them that's playing the league right now? Like,
I don't. I honestly don't really watch too many other teams, but just that's like the feeling I get in general. Because yeah, I'll stay humble.
That's fair.
I guess you wanna
go ahead, Grapes.
Let's. Yeah. I know that APA was on Raising NA, the other NACL podcast that we have in the space, just a couple days ago.
Shout out Raising NA.
He called himself the best mid laner by far, and he said like basically there's no other competition. I mean, we're giving you the floor to respond right now in case you wanna say anything back, or I know you guys have like a lower standing right now. You split them in the regular season so far, so.
We'll just see when the time comes. I'll just say that.
Ooh. I feel like that's in many ways the ultimate fighting words. Like we'll settle it on the rift, that's that's the way to do it. I am curious, next 3 series coming up this weekend. You got FlyQuest Challengers, Team Fish Taco, AoE. Any sort of like predictions on that, premonitions? Like is it easy 6-0 angle like DSG to the top, or like anything about these teams that you're interested in?
Fly is obviously one of the stronger teams, but I feel like that series will be spicy. But I think if we're all playing how we have been in scrims, I don't see a reason why it shouldn't be 6-0. I think the odds of 6-0 are pretty high. So, yeah.
Well, so this episode's actually coming out after your week of games, and so what we wanted you to do right now is to go through each of the series and like predict what's gonna happen. Like if you got like in your brain right now, so when it comes out, you can look like a genius.
How many times are you killing Rosethorn? Like that's the
versus Fly, I think it'll be a 2-0. I think Fake God will get like 4 solo kills. Maybe I'll get a couple solo kills.
Fake God's been playing well.
He has been playing well.
That Jack's game was last week was crazy.
I'm predicting Tomio stealing like an Eldritch or something. The games will be spicy. So yeah, 2-0 FlyQuest. TFT. I think Meech with his 300 ping is gonna solo kill the enemy AD and solo carry the games there.
The reverse
AoE. And AoE versus my former teammate Lynx. I predict I'm gonna catch Lynx out solo. And in both games actually, I'll catch him out solo and we'll 2-0.
Yes. That's gonna be the game decider, is like at Baron, like Lynx is just gonna get like blown off the map by you, and you guys will take it.
Yeah.
Oh, I realized that this wasn't against FlyQuest, but when you said Meech with this 300 ping, I was like, oh my god, it's the reverse Masu. Like there you go. Getting 2v2 kills with crazy ping. But yeah, Grapes, you had a question?
No, yeah. I mean, now we get to see when the episode comes out. You're either gonna maybe we'll like put the result. If it ends up happening in post, I'll like edit it in.
It's a bingo card, right? Like Tomio steals Elder, Meech 2v2 kill, Young finds Lynx, like free space is 6-0, right?
Yeah.
Who are some of the other teams in NACL that you think are pretty good, or that you want to you're excited to play up against again for the next half of the season?
I think my answer is still the same. It's just FlyQuest TL. I mean wildcard too. Actually, they 2-0'd us. They 0-2'd us, but I feel like that day was a weird day from us, so it's hard to include them. But I think they're good too. But it's just the standings are kind of accurate, I'd say. Like TL, Fly, wildcard, us are probably the best teams.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, y'all have looked extremely good to our eyes, at least. So I'm also curious. You know, it's sort of hard to talk about the future. We're only halfway through summer and everything, but I am just sort of curious. Like, I know you said that like this split, you basically said like, hey, I want to keep playing. I don't want to sit in the sub position and just basically like ball out and see what happens. And obviously no one knows what 2024 is going to look like, but is going pro, like you're still very much like wanting to make that happen and hoping that like any sort of aspirations for 2024, hoping that NA League doesn't fall apart so you can still play or, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like going on Twitch, seeing LCS numbers is kind of sad, but I gave myself this year, like I expected me to pursue League professionally, like as a career for this entire time. Like starting in January, I assumed I would be doing that. So I'm gonna just keep trying and see what happens. I know this split's really short, like I think it ends in like August or something. But yeah, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. Like I'm just gonna focus on the split and what's happening currently, and I can't really control what's gonna happen with the scene or anything. So I'll just see what happens.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, have any like other things you could pursue, things you're interested in other than League, or is it? I mean, right now just kind of this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just hope I do well. Obviously, LCS probably won't be dead next year, so I'm just hoping I do well. Maybe I get a shot on an LCS team. If not, maybe Riot does something cool with the tier 2 scene that I could keep doing. But I can always go back to school, I think. But I'm at least giving myself this year to like really try hard and like see what happens with the League. So,
do you have any suggestions to Riot right now? Because we did have a Rioter on our show one time. We had Whipley here.
We did.
So
we gotta get Whipley back on here. You know, like
yeah, he's in charge of tier 2 right now. So if you have any, please.
I saw like they were doing like, was it like between LAN and like Academy or something? They were trying to do something like that. I think like international like tournaments would be cool. Like imagine like Team Tony top versus like T1 challengers or something. Like that'd be like so funny. But
oh my god,
that would be really cool. I think if Riot could do that, but I think that would revive the scene a little bit. That'd be like cool.
That'd be awesome.
Hawk, you're casting CBLOL right now. I know there's a lot of like CBLOL Academy promotions right now. I don't know how much of that you've been watching, but I mean, how do our NACL teams fare against those guys, you think?
I mean, it's hard to say, dude. CBLOL plays the game like so crazy. Like even in Academy, these players are just like cracked out of their minds. Like in like the LPL kind of way. You know what I mean? Where they just do the weirdest things. I mean, I feel like our teams are a little bit better, but I don't know. CBLOL has gotten better over the years. I'm also like a coper. I'm actually probably the worst person to ask, you know? Like NA is definitely still ahead of CBLOL, and our Academy teams are probably better than theirs. However, like I think it would be really interesting and competitive, especially I think the idea of just making tier 2 more international, I think that is part of the reason why EMEA Masters is so successful. So I think people would just go crazy to watch like North American teams play against Brazilian teams. Like that would be sick.
That'd be really cool. I think the viewership would like explode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I think that would be freaking awesome. We've been actually trying to watch more CBLOL Academy, but Young, I got like one more question for you. We've run out of like our notes here, but I'm just sort of curious. Like outside of League, do you have any like hobbies, like niche interests, sports you play? I don't even know. Like you know, for the personality, right? Like, is there anything anything that you do outside of the game?
When Academy boomed, I hung out with Prismo a lot, and I skated a lot in high school and stuff. So I taught Prismo skating a little bit, and we ended up skating a little bit. So I guess skateboarding's like a hobby I did.
Nice. That's awesome.
Did you see what happened to Rovex a couple weeks ago?
No. No, I have not.
Did you not see this? Okay, I'm gonna send you this in Discord right now. So Rovex is playing mid right now for a qualifier team, and he had to sit out of his last, his last game because he, I think, hurt himself skateboarding, and this is the picture.
Oh,
here.
ouch! Ouch.
Have you ever had something like that? You fall and like you can't play solo queue for a couple of days or something like that?
Yeah. Okay. So when I forgot what year Pokemon Go came out, but
no.
No!
I was really addicted to that game. I like skated around a lot. But I ended up breaking my collarbone that summer because of
Oh.
Pokemon Go. I was like trying to catch a Pikachu and I like fell off my skateboard, and I was like bedridden for like 4 months. So
Oh,
that kind of scarred me. So
You were playing Pokemon Go as you were skateboarding?
I respect
Yeah.
it, honestly. This is
I was
literally
in that
when the
game.
game came out, when everyone was so concerned, like, oh god, Pokemon Go is gonna like get people killed. Like it was exactly this. Like
yeah, Young
don't-
is victim
Yeah.
number 1.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. I respect it though, honestly. Man, Pokemon Go is so fun. That's awesome though that you skate. I have never skateboarded. Well, I mean I've been on a skateboard, but I would hurt myself if I tried skateboarding right now. So I respect that your ability to do that.
All right. Well, Young, thank you so much for joining us. I guess we'll leave you the floor if you want to plug anything, and then we'll wrap things up.
Just check out my stream, obviously. Continue liking my MS Paint drawings.
Not your
Yeah.
MS Paint drawings, as we learned.
Your
Yeah,
friend's
yeah.
MS Paint drawing. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks
so
for
much,
joining
Young.
us. This is really great.
We will look forward to watching DSG continue to make some moves in the NACL the rest of the summer split, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you.